We are continuing to get to know the new coaching staff, and right now we have Frisman Jackson, the wide receivers coach. Coach, thanks for taking the time to do this today.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to seeing what these questions are about.
We're gonna have some fun. This is not X's and O's. My first question though is about, you were a wide receiver in the league. You coach wide receivers both in college and in the pros. So I was a little surprised to find out that you were a quarterback for 3 years in college before switching to wide receiver. Is that right?
Well, I like to say I was a quarterback. I don't know if my coaches from college would agree with me, but yeah, I dabbled in the quarterback room a little bit for my first 3 years in college. I was actually the starting quarterback at Northern Illinois for my first 2 years in college. So got a little bit of a quarterback background, but I would like to say I'm probably more of a receiver than a quarterback right now.
Yeah, I would say that. Just based on your history. I like that. Also, you said you dabbled when you were a starter in college. That's very humble of you. Did you miss it when you switched? Like, how did the switch come about? Obviously, you're happy the way that it played out, but how did it come about, and did you miss it at all?
I think I know how it came about. When you playing terrible at quarterback, you can't hide from it. So I was playing so bad that they said, you know what, it's about time for you to move. So I decided, well, I didn't decide. They decided to move me to receiver. And if I probably would have listened to them earlier when they first made the suggestion when I first came in as a freshman, I probably would have got drafted and played 15 years in the NFL. But I made it a couple of years later, and I'm glad I did.
And how does that influence the way you coach, knowing that you spent time at that position in addition to wide receiver?
Well, I think it gives me a different perspective. I'm always looking at it through the lens of the quarterback. I coach the guys up as if they're playing quarterback position. That's kind of how I teach the offense. That's how I teach them route concepts. Hey, here's what the quarterback is thinking. Here's what a quarterback read is. Here's why he's doing this. So I think it gives me that different perspective, and I think the guys appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So something that players have to deal with now is having fantasy football players get on Twitter and yell at them a little bit, right? You knew that this was coming. You knew I had to ask you about it. But you actually had to deal with that back in 2005 before Twitter. But you had to deal with the fantasy football people getting angry at you, right?
Yeah. Man, let's see. So this happened in 2005, first game of the season. Had a great game, had like 9 catches for 100 and some yards, TD. I was the highest pickup in 1 week pickup in fantasy football history. Like
That's
everybody
great.
picked me up across the country. So, my buddies from home calling me like, oh man, I'm picking you up. And this probably was before fantasy kind of exploded. And the next week I had, I think, 1 catch for like 5 yards or 6 yards or something like that. And I was the highest drop player in the history of fantasy football. And so you would think after the 2005 season, that would be the end of it. You wouldn't hear about it again. But 20 years later, however long it's been, 15 years later, I'm still hearing about don't be a Frisman Jackson. Don't pull a Frisman Jackson.
We got to put that to bed. But hey, you got the honor of being the most picked up guy, though.
Yeah, well, yeah. I finally got some recognition as my NFL skills.
Did you hear about it? Because like now, of course, with everyone being on Twitter or social media, people just go after players. Did you hear about it at all since there was really no kind of direct communication like Twitter?
No, I didn't really hear.
That's good.
How I heard about it was after I got done playing. And so it was my cousin. He was listening to sports talk radio, and they started talking about fantasy football. And they said my name, and he freaking he recorded it somehow, and he sent it to me. And from that point on, every year, Matthew Berry is his name. I actually met him at the combine. I finally confronted him at the combine. He wrote an article dedicated to me saying, hey, don't pull a Frisman Jackson and get this guy, So I've been hearing about it for 15 years, but not when I was playing. I enjoy it now. A part of me want to write back to the Twitter trolls like, hey, my career has been a lot better than you think it has.
Yeah.
At least I played in the NFL, or
Absolutely.
that's 9 more catches than you had in your career. But I know it's all in good spirit, and it's a warning to the other fantasy people. So they were looking out for him, so I can't be too mad.
I like that you have your tweet responses crafted, like that you know what you would say. I actually want to ask you about Twitter because you don't tweet often, and a lot of the time it's about football. But because you don't tweet often, I did come across this one tweet from July 31st of last year. I want to read it to you, and I was hoping you can explain it to me, okay? Some people spend all winter trying to get that summer body. Well, I'll spend August trying to get my body right for the fall. Tomorrow starts day one of the Beyoncé diet. So I would love to know, what is the Beyoncé diet?
Well, it's this juicing diet that Beyonce does.
Oh, is this like the lemon thing?
Yeah, the lemon diet. I can't remember it all. That was last year, but so I was watching the Beyonce,
The documentary?
the documentary,
Yeah,
the
I watched that
Beyonce
too.
documentary, and so she talked about the diet that she went on after she had the kids and how it transformed her body back to how she was before she got pregnant. And I was like, you know what? My body looks like crap right now. Let me get on this Beyonce diet. And I couldn't. I mean, it lasted probably about a day.
I was gonna ask if you were gonna do it again this fall.
No.
Well, because it's like lemon and like paprika or something, and
Yeah,
that's just like
lemon,
about it.
paprika. I like cookies too much. I like honey buns. I like those things too much to be on the Beyonce diet.
Well, at least you tried it.
Yeah, it sounded good. I got a lot of retweets and people liking it. Wishing me good luck. But no. Mm-mm.
Well, I had to ask because it was the way you got ready for fall last year. I had to ask about this year. But speaking of food, you're a Chicago guy. You grew up there, standout athlete in Chicago. So I got to ask, deep dish or thin crust?
Everybody that's not really from Chicago, they always talking about deep dish. Chicagoans, we don't care for the deep dish. That's a tourist thing. I'm a thin crust guy.
You're a thin crust guy. I lived in Chicago for 2 years. I never heard a Chicagoan say that they don't like.
They don't like the homegrown Chicagoans do not care for the deep dish. That's tourist stuff. No, we're going to the local. We're not even going to those spots where all the deep dish is. We're going to the local spots. I'm not gonna name any names because I won't get hate mail or anything like that. But we go to kind of the local spots in the area to get thin crust pizza, tavern cut pizza. So that's kind of where we go with it.
Well, all my time in Chicago, I had to move back to Charlotte to find that out. So thank you for enlightening me about that.
Did you go to get the Chicago hot dog?
Oh yeah, it's delicious. But then I got people got on me for even just liking a regular hot dog with ketchup, and I was like, look, I like the Chicago dog, but I don't mind like a ketchup hot dog either. So
yeah, well, I put ketchup on mine, so don't feel on the Chicago dog.
You're making me feel a lot better. Next time we as a team go up to Chicago, we'll have to go on a food tour.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I'll take you on the south side where I grew up. That's where the real food is.
All right, look, I'm locking you into it. We're gonna go.
All right, yep, I got you.
All right, Coach, thank you so much for taking the time. I feel like I definitely got to know you.
Thank you. I appreciate the time.